Now, I felt the need for a tail in the painting. I know it's not really visible in the reference, so a little bit of artistic license here. But I didn't want, because I was more or less making it up, I didn't want to suggest it too heavily, because I don't want to draw too much attention to it, quite frankly. But I just felt it needed to be there. Nostrils back in, having switched back to the filbert brush. And the head on the left, I think, is starting to look a little better proportioned than it was. So you can see the animal on the left is painted in really quite a solid way. You know, it's fully painted, for one. We've got mid-tones, dark shadows, highlights, mid-shadows. You know, there's quite a lot going on, different textural marks. The one on the right is barely painted at all. And really it's been drawn with the brush, as I mentioned earlier, apart from a couple of key areas. But to my mind, I think it's quite an interesting effect. Now, you may or may not like it, but nevertheless, they're visually very different. It almost looks, you could say the animal on the left almost looks like it's cut out. But I would like to think there's still a certain sense of life there. So the question then is, as an artist, do you feel it makes the painting too disjointed because you've got two different styles, one on the left, one on the right? Or do you like the contrast of visual styles? And obviously that's for each individual to decide, whether they're the artist or the person viewing the painting. But I like to experiment in this way, and I like to include a sense of drawing in my paintings quite often. You can see I'm doing a bit of that now on the head of the orange animal. I'm including some of those sort of drawing marks on top of the more painterly approach that I've taken for the earlier stages. And those drawing marks are great for adding sort of fluffy bits to the back or the ear or the, you know, just the edge of the animal, really. So here's a look at the finished painting. So for the animal on the left, you can see I haven't done too much more, but I did just add a few highlights and correct the top of the head, and just added a few more of those textural drawing marks that I've mentioned just a moment ago. For the animal on the right, I haven't done that much more either, although its appearance has changed quite a bit. I've widened the head. If you remember earlier on, I mentioned I needed to adjust the shape of the head, and I feel that's really brought the animal to life more. I added a few highlights here and there as well, and a few touches of light blue on the body, and a few watercolor marker lines as well, just to add a bit of texture and enhance the sense of being drawn. And then there are just a few patches of green on the background hedge. But on the whole, you can see it's really quite a minimalist approach to much of the painting, in particular the animal on the right. Hopefully at a glance now, I think it looks like less of a sort of paper cutout, and it's more in keeping with the whole painting. But at the same time, I've maintained a key contrast between the left-hand animal and the way it's painted and the way the right-hand animal is described. So I personally feel it's a really interesting way to work, and I hope it's been useful for you as well, and shown you that you can leave parts unpainted in acrylic. You don't have to restrict that technique to watercolor. Hope you enjoyed the video, and hope to see you next Sunday for the next episode of the Sunday Art Show. Thanks very much for watching.